Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and in this edition of Let's Learn Dragon Ball FighterZ, we're going to be talking about blockstrings. Now this is actually a very often requested video for me. Blockstring is a very prevalent and very common concept basically throughout all of fighting games, but we'll talk to it a bit as it pertains to Dragon Ball FighterZ and some concepts here to help you out. So the basic of the blockstring is simply this. So say you want to attack your enemy here. Around this point you realize, hey, he's blocking everything. My moves ain't going through, right? So at that point, if he's blocking everything, what are we gonna do then? I guess, depending on your character, some people are better than others. You can just choose to stop. Although at this point, if you choose to stop, you're basically giving up your turn, as you'll definitely be negative after whatever button you just pressed. So that's not necessarily ideal, as the enemy can basically start pressuring you, right? So what can we do? Well, there's a lot of multiple permutations of schools of thought, to be sure, but three big ones I want to get to is the reset, where you reset your positioning without losing your turn. The option where you want to keep it your turn even after you realize the blocking, is happening, and then baiting people out into a false sense of security. So the first option here, let's just talk about the reset. The case where you don't want to necessarily, or you don't have the option to keep it your turn, but you don't want to just give it free reign to be negative, disadvantage in the enemy's face, and they can do whatever for you. So this is absolutely the most character by character of any of these options. But what we gotta do is just think about what are your options. So for Broly specifically, in this scenario we just set up right here, right? And by this particular setup, we know they're blocking everything, so whatever. So what can we do? And for Broly, what we can do is this. And go for his projectile special. Now this move is absolutely negative on block, so if you're both to hit a button right after it, say you're both going to hit stand medium after, the other guy's going to win. But what it has is a substantial amount of pushback. As you see there's nothing that can punch that fast enough, even though it is technically negative or disadvantage on block. So a lot of characters, not every character, but a lot of characters have some kind of move that either sometimes the moves will be advantage on block, or can create some distance between you and the other character, or has a lot of pushback, or there's just a lot of options. So that is something you have to determine character by character, because if we go through every single character in this game, this video is going to be a very long one. But just to toss out some examples here, and I'll just go through them really quick. Now, for someone like Nappa, so let's use the explosion move as our base for Nappa. So we go in here, they're blocking everything, so we'll go for the explosion move, and this move is basically neutral on block. And see here, the distance created between the two of us is basically reset our distance. No one has the advantage or disadvantage. We are basically, for the most part, equal at this point. So we can kind of just reset. It's maybe not ideal, but it's certainly better than being negative in the opponent's face, right? Now, someone like Gohan. Now, Gohan. So Gohan's down key blast here is basically the auto-spacing move built in. So whenever you can tell your block string is not going the way you want, it is very easy to just reset your distance and just, go from there. Let's start fresh, right? Now, Gohan is a character that's very much prone to, wanting to keep the pressure going. So he's kind of character that usually have assists backing him up, but we'll talk about more of that in the next section here. But for the most part here, if he chooses to disengage and he wants out, he's out, and there's basically not much you can say about it. So in this situation here, we get to easily reset to neutral on the block string. Now, Bardock. Now, this is another thing we'll talk about keeping your turn here, because Bardock, he has a special move he can cancel into that is advantage on block. Now, this move has a gap in it here, meaning you can kind of sneak something in there. It could be a reversal, it could be a level 3, it could be one of quite a few things. But just to give an example, basically. So, if this connects, not only have you reset the situation, it is still your turn. You are the one advantage in this block string, meaning after it is blocked, you can basically just start a second block string because it's your turn, not theirs, and that's a pretty big deal. Now, another thing you can do after you notice the block string has happened, as the enemy is blocking what you're doing, and you want to be able to do something other than just stop hitting buttons and let that be their turn, is to take another turn. Now, this is a little more difficult. There's two ways to do it. Advantage on block moves, which are quite rare on this game, and assist, which, you always got two at the very least, right, at the start of the match. So let's just quickly talk about some advantage on block moves. So we got Yamcha here for a quick example. Now, Yamcha is standing heavy right here. this move is advantage on block if you're not aware. So if Yamcha hits stand jab right after that move is blocked, and the enemy tries to hit a button afterwards, Yamcha is always going to win. So now obviously this move has a very big gap in it, much more compared to most, right? But as you can see here, as long as it connects, since it is advantage, it's always going to put you in range of that stand jab. And it means as long as they block it, and you know, even better if it hits, right? But as long as they block it, it is going to continually be your turn over and over and over and over again until they do something more drastic about it. So in that instance, this is a way to kind of keep your turn non-stop. Now this is a Yamcha specific example, because he has a plus on block normal, which is very rare. Any kind of plus on block move is very rare. We have mentioned Bardock too with the Tyrant Lancer, that's the plus on block move. Just not many plus on block moves in this game. But now let's talk about the more, you know, kind of average way to take a extra turn here, which is the assist. So say here we're gonna do our block string. Oh, you know, that's no fun. They just blocked it all. Well, what are we gonna keep doing? Well then, let's just go work like this. So we're gonna do our block string, and then we're gonna end with some specials here. And during that special, we're gonna call an assist here. So we're using two of the beams here. The beams are some of the better assists for taking extra turns. Used to be with Vegeta, but now after the nerf here, Vegeta is definitely less incentivized to toss out when someone can block you, due to them being able to freely reflect it. So, and these are not the only assists that are good for block strings. These are just two of the more common and better examples. So we get to our block string here, and we're going to call assists. And one thing we can just do right after that point is just charge forward and attack again. And if they hit any kind of button, well, they're probably going to get smacked. But a more likely scenario is after our block string here, we can either try to go for like some manner of jumping offense, or even a cross up while they're dealing with the block stun of the assist. We can wait it out and then go for a dragon rush. We can empty jump and then go for a low. There's all sorts of options here. So I'll just show you them in sequence real quick. So that would be a quick overhead. That would be your instant cross up, so from which point we can go to a combo from there. That would be the empty jump low to trick them into blocking high first, then we go for a low right away. And that's just running up throw, which is very effective still. So you see here, that's a lot of permutations. And once again, this is not the realm only of the beams. This is any assist that can generate any amount of block stun, which is basically everyone except for Android 18, unfortunately. But yeah, so you'll use the assist, keeping them in block stun for you to recover from whatever last move you just did. And at which point you're recovered, now fully, you can have complete control of your character while the enemy is still in block stun from the assist, and that's when you freely move around and just do whatever you're going to do. Are you going to be tricky? You can try to be tricky, go for a snow overhead, a fake overhead to a low, cross up, a throw, whatever. Maybe you just want to keep hitting buttons here and you can slowly make them crack. At which point, once you're really putting in assists, that's when you can start letting things just kind of rock as they are. So say after we go through this whole sequence here, we do that, and that's when we do our Dragon Rush, right? The more assists and the more pressure, the more prone people are either going to be to get completely hunkered down and be really defensive, or that's when they're going to be prone to hit a button and make a mistake. So whatever works out for you, that's better. Keep in mind, though, when you're doing this, for any small amount of imperfections in the tightness of your block string, for someone like a Vanish isn't too bad to deal with, because generally speaking, you're not allowed to Vanish for a few frames. But anyone with an invincible move, or if they have their level 3 on deck, do be very careful of mash heavy people, because that is a thing that can happen. Now, another way to set up your block string is with a bait in mind. So we kind of talked about at the start of the whole video of how you don't want to just, you know, do your whole block string and then just, oh, I guess that's it, you know, we're done. So, you know, go Goku, it's your turn, right? Because I'm negative and I can't really afford to stick out a button. So this is where the bait comes into play. So since Krillin recently got buffed, we're going to use him as an example, although this is extra any character who jumps at the very start of their assist, just because they're kind of out of line of fire of like a stand jab. So all we're going to do here is basic block string, and see, we're just right in front of their face, and then we're going to call Krillin. So this is the bait. It is please try to take your turn. All things being equal, yeah, it would be your turn here. But I've done a very slow moving assist, which has been buffed pretty nicely. Has additional hit stun. So in this specific situation here, if they want to take their turn, they're going to bonked by the rock, at which point they get comboed out. As you can see right there, and then you could freely just smack them. So you do want to be down backing, you want to be blocking, don't just let them hit you for free, otherwise this whole, thing went for naught. But that is just basically trying to trick the opponent and letting them try to take their turn. And the assist here on Krillin, his assist is definitely much better after the patch. Kind of steals the turn back for you without having to do much, because not every assist is going to have the utility of a beam, right? So this is just kind of open your eyes, because otherwise you just go, do your thing and like, oh, whatever, and then just keep going. You can just toss the beam out. Not everyone's going to have that utility. For some assists, you're going to have to think in more, non-traditional ways. So that is one way for an assist like Krillin to let people, like, hang themselves, for lack of a better term. They can just, do what they're going to do, and the rock's going to smack them out of it. So they have to live in fear of the rock bonking them on the head. And at which point, once they respect the rock, you can do your own thing, and then, like, dragon rush them before it even hits, and then, like, that kind of stuff, right? Once they give the rock its respect it deserves, then that's when you can start going crazy. So that is just one way to let the enemy overextend, and the assist lets them just, think they have a turn, and no, it's actually, you got to be paralyzed and do nothing else. This simple little rock is going to ruin your day really bad. So there you have it. I know for a lot of you more long-time fighting game people here, Blockstrings are old news, but for a lot of people who are new to Dragon Ball FighterZ, newer to the fighting game scene, obviously it is an old news, right? And this comes at heavy request to make this video. So these are just some examples you can use here. But yeah, long story short, if you are stuck in the Blockstring, at the very least find whatever special you have that either resets your position, or gets you out of dodge, or can maybe steal a turn. And always keep those assists in mind, because every time you have an assist up on deck here, each assist, and you got to figure out how to apply it best, but each assist is basically take an extra turn button. So not all assists have the same timing. You have to do figure out ways to do it. Even someone like Android 18. Android 18 cannot hit you. No, she can't. But she's a prime example of what we talked about in the baiting category, because she can absorb one hit. So she can absorb the hit for you, and then you can keep going from there, right? These are just ideas that kind of your brain power flowing. There's so many permutations and so many examples here. Some characters have their own little mix-up games in and of themselves. Like someone like Yamcha, like as we went over, you really got to watch that cartwheel, because every time you block it, you might as well have just not have done anything at all, because the pressure just doesn't stop at that point. Every time you block it, the pressure keeps happening. So you really got to watch out for these kind of things. But anyways, the wonderful world of Blockstrings is quite a beast here. So experiment with your assists, like the beams, like the Gokus and Cell and all that. They're pretty brain dead. You just hit the button and you can just do whatever you want. You want to jump in, you want to go and try to sneak a low, you want to try to sneak a throw. There's so many options. For other characters, you gotta use a little more tactical pressure and like tactical thought, like say Ginyu here, because all he's gonna give you is block stun, and he's not gonna give you that much either. But not all assists are created equal. But try out what works for your team, and if you've got any specific questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them in the comments. But that is it for this video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this video found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.